Hey everybody, I'm Rusty Nelson and welcome. I'm down here in the Villages finally, and we're going to talk about the catastrophe I had on my way down here. We're going to talk about race in the villages, pets in the villages, and a couple other things along with my catastrophe on my way down here. Let's go ahead and get started. Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Rusty Nelson and welcome. This is a channel where we talk about the villages, retirement, and I don't know, all things that pertain to people our age, that type of thing, and kind of hopefully get into exploring Florida a little bit. But for those of you that have been watching, you know that I've been off air for about 5 weeks. And there's been a whole bunch of stuff going on, nothing major, health is fine, everything's going good. But I spent a lot of time up north around Philadelphia, and then my trip down here, which we're going to get into, which was a real catastrophe. So sad, but we'll get into that. And I tried to, on the way down, answer some questions that people had written. So this is going to be kind of a little piecemeal until I get back into the swing of things. But thank you so much for hanging in there. So this is kind of like what happened on my drive down here. We'll kind of explore that a little bit and do some questions and answers, that type of thing. Anyway, I want to say again, thank you so much to all the people that reached out and were in the comments and stuff like that, and emailing me, and those that text, where are you? Where's your videos? We miss you. Is everything okay? Yes, everything is fine. In fact, I'm only down here for about another few days or so, and then I'm back up north for, we're getting into the Mother's Day thing. I got some birthdays to take care of. And while I was up there before, I had a funeral type thing, service type thing. So all those kind of things going together, but eventually I'll get back into the swing of things. But this will be a little piecemeal together, and I think you'll get the idea of what happened on the way down here. I get a lot of people ask me about where I stop and where I go, my drives back up and to Philly and come back down. And it's pretty much all of a 95 thing, and then the normal thing from 95 to get into Florida type thing. And as you know, as many people know, I do stop by Buc-ee's a lot. That's kind of like my halfway point, although that may change. You'll see why here in a second. But I'm going to piecemeal this together, hopefully, and do some kind of questions and answers. And hopefully we're going to kind of get started back up on this again. And I really miss it. And anyway, here we go. I'll kind of piecemeal this together. Thanks a lot for subscribing and liking. Really appreciate it. One thing I know some of you have watched. I just put out a video, went to the Hurricane Expo. So I'll put a link down below that for that. And also talked a little bit about this year. I am not going out and doing the guiding storm chasing out in the Midwest unless there's really something that I personally want to go out and see. Kind of decided to take a break from that. So I will be able to, like I did last year, do some video as things happen around here going into hurricane season. You can watch the Hurricane Expo video. In fact, it just came out. You can probably look that up pretty easy. And I will try to go live as best I can. We'll see about the car thing here in a second. You'll get the idea of whether I can set that up to do video, but I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do live broadcasting from the car again. So make sure you're subscribed. Anyway, let's kind of get into this. And this sort of happened just last week on my way down from Philly down to Florida. Everybody, how you doing? I'm Rusty Nelson and welcome. Usually I am down at the Villages, Florida, a 55 and over retirement community. But today I am here at Lindsay Automotive in Woodbridge, Virginia. I guess it is just south of Washington, D.C. And it is all because I was on my way from Pennsylvania back to Florida, and my car broke down, showed 0 oil pressure. And I thought, well, it's been a while since I've done a video. Why not go ahead and get started now? I'm definitely at a different place now. It got to be so long at the dealership getting my car fixed that they gave me a ride over to kind of like one of the outside local malls. And that's where I am right now. I have to say the dealership's been pretty good. They, here at Lindsay Chevrolet, I'll even give them a bump there. Yeah, having oil pressure problems, but they've changed out the sensor. They're going to clean out the engine because I have about 200 and almost 250,000 miles on my truck, waiting for the new 25 Tahoes to come out. But I wanted to address one thing really quick. There's a few people, and I'll try to flash up some of the names here once I cut this off. I can't remember the names, but a lot of people have asked, where the heck have you been? And I want to let you know I'm fine. Everything's good. And I've been up in Pennsylvania for a while. Some of the stuff I was doing my yearly doctor thing, so all my specialists are up there. So I do them once a year and go through all of that. And then I made a couple of trips. I had a death in the family, that type of thing. But the thing with the videos is that if I don't have a whole lot to say, I don't make a video. Now, as you've heard me say, I do this, and it's not for money. It's definitely not for money. You notice I don't have a lot of things the other guys have, the Patreon and ads and all, self ads, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's great. It's a great money-making thing. But I literally do this for fun. This is my retirement fund. And so I'm going to answer a few questions on my way down if I ever get out of here. So it's been 2 days now going through this, and hopefully I'll be out of here because I have a pickleball tournament tomorrow on Tuesday. So anyway, that's that. And I'm going to go through once. I guess he's calling all the females around here. Anyway, I am going to try to do a bunch of questions and answer type thing, or a few of them on the way down, and let you know how the rest of it goes. Hang in there, and hopefully they've taken me down here, gave me a ride out to this mall to go catch some lunch, and hopefully I will be out of here in the next couple of hours for another about 12 hours worth of driving, but I am going to make that wonderful stop. You know where? At Buc-ee's. I'm going to jump in here for a second because you're going to see in this next clip, I am beat. This is day number 2 down in Virginia with my truck, and what a nightmare. I am beat, as you'll see. Also ended up getting an infection in my eye and everything else. This is the follow-up to the story. This is my avalanche that has served me well, about 250,000 miles on it. And I ended up having to buy a little car, an Equinox, to get me back to Florida. And so I'm saying farewell to my favorite car. Anyway, unpacking everything and going to transfer it over to the Equinox. And I'll try to continue the story as we go on. Not a good day. Hey everybody, how you doing? I have absolutely no idea where I left off in this. I know I took some pictures up at the car dealership, so you probably already know I am on the second or third part of my trip from Philly back to the Villages. And of course I made a stop at Buc-ee's last night, and now I am in my new old used car. I call it a rental car because that's actually what it was when I checked Carfax at the dealership at one point. But, after my truck pretty much disintegrated the engine, it was going to cost about 10 grand to put in a new engine, which they were very happy to do. Or take a gamble on trying to get back home in that car, and it just wasn't worth the gamble because if I broke down on the side of the road, it'd probably cost me that much to get it towed, and then I'd be in the worst spot. So I finally, with tears in my eyes, had to give up the good old Avalanche, and now I am in a 2019 Equinox with 90,000 miles on it. But with that said, I am still waiting for the 2025 Tahoes to come out, and that will be my new vehicle of choice to use. Anyway, that story told. I'm obviously not going to make my pickleball tournament today, which I'm kind of bummed about. But I'm going to try to answer a couple of questions on here that I actually printed up, and I'll take a look at them in a second. And then I'm going to put out hopefully a flurry of videos here real soon. I know I haven't done anything in a while. Thank you so much to the people that, as I think I said before in this tape, although this video is pretty broken up. Thank you so much for your concerns and stuff like that. And I will get caught up over the next two. I can tell you I have already started to put one together. It's going to come out very, very soon. And that's on the storm chasing, the start of hurricane season, surge protectors, and lightning protection stuff that I've done myself. Doesn't mean you have to do it. But some of the things I've done and some really interesting stuff that I found out about surge protectors and what's really involved in them. Anyway, I'm going to answer a few questions, and we'll see how the rest of this ride goes to see whether I actually make it back to the villages. All right, let's try a question or two if I can find them here in the car when I pull over next time. Here's a question that really kind of becomes interesting now, a little more interesting than it was 2-3 years ago because of Middleton. I believe it was D. Williams. Sorry, I don't have a piece of paper to look at while I'm driving, but I believe it said he was 58 years old and wanted to move to the villages, and he has a 6-year-old. You know, can he live in the villages? And the basic answer is no. Children under 18 can stay with you for 30 days is the general rule. And it kind of makes me chuckle a little bit because, you know, when you listen to Skip Smith's news, he always when he's reading his rap sheet thing about the crime sheets or whatever he is that he reads, which is really good. If you haven't listened to those, go listen to them. You know, you have these people that have their kids living with them, and then they say their kids are 30 years old or something like that. You know, come on, kids, grow up and find a new place to live. And I don't know why you'd want to live here in the villages. But with that said, now you have something that makes it a little more interesting is the fact that Middleton's just south of the villages. I'll call it the villages proper, and butts right up against the new town square down there. And that is, for people that don't know it, that is kind of like a Villages, but made for families. And it was originally, or it is made for, to attract people to work in the villages. And if you have a 6-year-old and you work in the villages, you actually have to work in the villages or for the villages in some way, I believe, then you can send that child to the charter school down there. So that makes it really interesting. I hope that answers the question, but as always, check the regulations for your district because, you know, I think we're up to maybe 17 districts now, and every single district is different on different subjects. Even if you take animals, how many animals can you have? District 1 is completely different than District 13. And that is your job and your landlord's job, if you rent a house, to let you know what those rules are so that we can all play nice in the playpen. All right, let's find another question as soon as I pull over here and I can look one up. I know a lot of people ask me about my trips up, back and forth. Where do I stop? Where do I stay? Well, I usually stay, if I'm going to divide the trip into two from Philly to the villages, I stop right around Buc-ee's. But because of this mass confusion, stuff like that with the car and all that, I've stopped at a couple of different places. Although I did stay just north of Buc-ee's in Florence last night. But one of the good places I think to stop is right here at the Georgia Rest Center, coming right into Georgia. And this is on the southbound side. And I'll take you inside really quick, but this is a really nice, kind of a nice rest area in here. So if you're going by, really echoey, but if you're going by, there's kind of a cool place to stop, and you'll see it's pretty big. So kind of a nice area. I guess they have trolley rides somewhere, but there's also this little picture taking area here with Forrest Gump. If you're so inclined, you could get a picture taken with him. I guess I should do that, maybe. May and Forrest. I wonder how many people have done that. But you can see there's a lot of, so actually this is really nice. I really like this stop. Some kind of turtle or something like that. But they put a good effort into this. The restrooms always seem to be really clean. A few picture taking places, and then there's the normal vending machines in the back, that type of thing. Just a nice one. Anyway, that's it. There's kind of a picnic area in the back. And some stuff here on Henry Ford, and a really nice information area if you want to ask them. Anyway, that's it. That's one of my stops on the way back. I usually don't stop here, but just because of the way today's working out, I figured I'd make the stop. Anyway, that's it. The Georgia rest area, and that's on the south side. Heading south. I don't know whether there probably is one coming on the north side. I'll have to check it out next time. Okay, let's go find another question to talk about. Make my ride a little more interesting. That was kind of a fun stop at Georgia's rest area. Like I said, going south. And a lot of times with all the traveling I've done, especially with the storm chasing and stuff like that, I love stopping in the rest areas that are for each state, the first one that you go to, and there's people. It's nice that Georgia's got a bunch of people there to greet you, and the Mama always said, life is like a box of chocolates, that kind of stuff there, and stuff about their state. It kind of shows pride in the state and gives you some information and things you may want to see in the state. But anyway, these next statements, I generally don't, and I'll say this again for people maybe that are just joining in, I don't like to do anything political. If you write something, I love it when people write stuff in the comments. I read every single one of them. But when you start writing stupid negative stuff, I just take it out because it's my channel and I really don't want to have that negative kind of stuff. But every once in a while, somebody writes something and I decide to respond to it, like these two. And it's about, as they put it, black people. Now, me personally, the minute you bring something up about race, to me, you're part of the problem. Because I think I had in one of my other ones, Morgan Freeman did a great one, and it was about how he didn't want Black History Month because, what do you got, White History Month? No, I'm an American, and it's part of American history. And I think that kind of explains the way I feel. I think it's great if you're black, white, pink, purple, LGBTQ, and I love that everybody's different and stuff like that. But I think the cool thing I love about the Villages is it's just never brought up. It's just not. I mean, to me, and I'm really social too. I've been known to go belly up to the bar quite a few times, and had plenty of people buy me a drink at the bar and struck up some good conversations, and never does that conversation go to politics or race or anything else. It's just not. So I guess my big thing is I'm not sure what these people think, except maybe they're trying to cause...
In 4.6 miles, continue on US 301 alternate south toward Gainesville.
There we go. Now we know where I am. I think people are trying to stir up problems and stuff like that, but there's a lot of people
Police
out there
reported ahead
that haven't been to the Villages, and they'll see comments like this, and they'll see that stupid video of that person yelling at the person in a golf cart that's in in the Trump parade, and I think I did a little cut of it in the video. And how silly that was to even take it seriously. And people do, no matter how many times you're going to tell them. But if that was really serious out of 150,000 people, and I'm probably out 5 nights a week, you would think I would hear something like that, and you never do. So anybody that's thinking about coming down there, go ahead and come down, and you tell me if you hear anything about race or prejudice or anything like that. But I don't know what these people think. Do they think there's somebody at the sales office that goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, you can't come in here"? It's like an open forum for the villages, man. If you want to come down and live here, you come down and live here. As far as I know, there is no black neighborhood, white neighborhood, Hispanic neighborhood. There's just not. And that's pretty cool out of 150,000 people. If there is one, I don't know about it. But that's the great thing about it. Everybody's there to be retired and have a good time. And well, I'll tell you what, if you know anything different, I'd love to hear about it. In the villages, I even had somebody say in one of these comments recently, I don't think I'm going to put it up here, but said, "Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun, but there's loofahs everywhere." I went out for 2 weekends and tried videotaping in and out of the squares and never found one loofah, except for on a car back in the parking lot, which no doubt was there for somebody to make sure they could see their car, because they had some other kind of little flower on there too. Just so many goofy rumors and stuff like that, but it's just stirring up problems. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let me see if I can find another question here when we stop at the next gas station. Here's another one.
In 1 mile, continue on US 301 alternate south toward Gainesville.
It's like this thing waits for me. Here's another one that I get a lot, and it's about animals. And I'll tell you my philosophy about animals. I love animals. I used to sponsor the SPCA up where I lived in California. In fact, I promoted and helped put on and donated to a blues concert, a huge blues concert. So much so that there was my name right up next to Pepsi or Coke or whoever it was on the sponsor list on the T-shirts and stuff like that. I used to shovel poop at the SPCA for the kennels. Unfortunately, it was a no-kill kennel. Sometimes I took them for their last walk. So I got a big heart.
Continue on US 301 alternate south toward Gainesville.
I got a big heart for animals. But here's the thing. In the villages, so the question is how many
minutes to State Route 326 west.
How many animals can you have in the villages? Now, in case you didn't know, the villages is divided up into districts, and each district has its own rules. And if you go from District 1 all the way down to District 13, where I live in, I haven't looked at the new ones yet, they're different. The rules are totally different. And there's two sides to this coin. So basically up north, there's a lot of them that say 2 animals per household. The thing about if I have more than 2 animals and I move in to the villages, I've asked twice on here, I can bring the extra animals in until they pass away. I would love to find that someplace. I couldn't find it anywhere. Put it down in the comments if you know exactly what district, what section of the rules that's in, and I'll go look it up and I'll be happy to put it on here. But if you look, the basic overall thing leads to 2 animals, all right? That's the basic rules. For some reason in 13, as I looked at it, maybe some of the other newer ones, it says it doesn't have a number of animals on there. So the other side of this philosophy is, first of all, let me say again, you need to check the rules for your district. Here's one of the problems is we live in very close quarters to our neighbors, right? And that means that you have to be really respectful of your neighbors when it comes to animals. And that comes to pooping on other people's lawns and peeing on other people's lawns. And all you dog folks, I don't care what you say, go look at the dog park, and peeing and pooping on people's lawns makes marks. And some of our lawns are really hard to take care of. Two is I literally have had neighbors that let their dogs howl all day, even while they're home. It's like they're totally oblivious to what's going on. And trust me, your neighbors hear it. And I had a neighbor that's since moved out that would literally leave their animal out, and it would howl and whimper and cry for hours while they were out. Well, when they came home, the dog was wagging his tail, and it was all happy they were home. They went inside, no problem. But all their neighbors had to endure that the whole time. In the mornings, you don't want to get up in the morning and go out to go have your cup of coffee and hear a dog barking. I mean, it's just not part of life. So the amount of dogs and cats and animals and birds and bees and whatever you have is not a big deal, but you have to be conscious of the noise. And that barking, like I live on a pond, and when somebody's dog barks across the pond, you can hear it all over the place. So that's it. Those are the two parts. If you want to bring animals to the villages, you need to read the rules for your individual district. You need to be cautious and conscious of where you walk and take the dog out. There's plenty of dog parks to take them to. That's your responsibility, not your neighbors. And, the noise problems. And with that said, I know there is some things that are changing as far as who is going to control the rules and governing the rules inside of homes. And I'll have to do some reading up on that because it kind of made me start to think about actually who does control it. I know the sheriff's department controls a lot of it. Anyway, with that said, let me see if I can get my camera back on here again. Thank you to all the people that wrote in asking how I was doing and I hadn't been on here. I'm fine. It's going to be good to get down in the villages in exactly an hour and a half. And I look forward to making some more videos. Like I said, I got one partially done coming up on surge protectors, lightning, and don't forget, I will probably storm chase when we get some good storms in, and I will try to keep you abreast of early warnings for hurricanes, so make sure that you're subscribed so you can see those. And if anything gets really good, I don't know, now that I don't have my storm chasing truck anymore, I'll have to see whether I can set this one up, but I will try to go live with some cameras around the villages, so you'll only see that if you're subscribed. And thank you so much for doing that. And it always helps when you push that like button. And comments, please read. I'll read all the comments if you leave them. And any of the goofy ones, I'm sorry, but I'm just not going to let those go out. Anyway, thank you so much. And I will see you either down here in the villages or back on YouTube. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.